And in studio, I have Miss Justine Patterson, who's an editor and director of a film called Keep Needing Me. Justine, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. And by the way, let me be the first to say congratulations on this film. I mean, it's like, when I checked it out, I was like, wow. All right, it's like, this is seriously going to be a good one.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, also the fact that that I know that you're going to be something really, really big pretty soon. Have you been doing this for very long?
No, well, this was actually my grad film.
Okay.
So I moved to Cape Town to study for 3 years at SAE Institute. So I guess since only for 3 years or now 4 years, I've been in the film industry technically, Yeah,
I'm definitely fanboying out right now, but I'll keep my composure.
Okay, thank you. No, it's fine. It's making me feel a lot better.
So talk to me about the film.
All right, so Keep Needing Me, basically, it's like a thriller horror drama about Joanne that basically slips into the state of depravity trying to care for her ex-lover Nick, and as she tries to rekindle this relationship, she falls deep and deep into this little bit of twisted psycho-possessive kind of girl, to the extent that she kind of immobilizes Nick permanently to keep him with her.
Yeah. And you have an editing background, and at this time you got your director's hat on.
Yes.
So tell me about, like, was that a great influence that you, coming from an editor's perspective, and then now moving into directing?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can see in the film where we really shot for the edit, especially when I was storyboarding, because I'm always thinking about Edgar Wright and how well he does his transitions. So I hope that came through in the film, and I think it helped a lot better for the scenes to be played out a lot more smoothly, and knowing we're going to have to need a close-up on this because I want to evoke this emotion, or no, we can keep white here, and that helped a lot on set because we only had 3 days to shoot it.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it was parts even my Sydney was like, let's just get this shot. And I was like, no, we don't need it. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to use it in the edit, so let's move on.
Yeah.
So I think it also helped keep the pace on set as well going.
Yeah. And then Nicole Mormon, I mean, sure, what a stellar performance she did, playing the role as Joanne. How was it working with her?
Oh, she's phenomenal. I think she's one of the actors that you have to kind of give a very abstract example of something. So in the climax scene where Nick is taped down to the chair, I told her, pretend you're a snake slithering over a rabbit before it eats it. So she kind of needs that very visceral type of thing to get into the acting, but she's phenomenal, and she can just on, off the whole time.
Yeah,
but,
she had me afraid. I was like, yeah, no, I definitely didn't want to be in such a
she was
scene.
perfect. Especially, I mean, even when, as soon as she left the casting room, I looked at Josh, who's the writer and producer, and I was like, she's the one. Immediately you could tell.
No, definitely she sold it. So I like to sort of play a little bit of devil's advocate in the fact that I sympathize with Joanne in terms of what guys really do to females, to have them kind of go they're crazy. How important was it for you to tell Joanne's story?
I think, in the beginning, we didn't actually have Nick cheat on Joanne at all, but that's
what I thought happened.
Everybody eventually became so on Joanne's side they didn't even care about
I was like, get him.
So it was extremely important for everybody to sympathize with her till the part where you really realize she's lying about the relationship. So we really wanted to play up the whole guys are trash whole scenario in the 2020 feminist movement. So it was extremely important for people to sympathize a lot with her up until the point. I think even when she's lying about the engagement, people are still like, oh, shame, maybe she's just hoping for something to happen. But we wanted people to really be on her side until the very last minute at the climax. So I think it was important for us to get that across, that you were on her team and not on Nick's team.
Yeah. And you did a really well job with your location. I mean, the fact that you guys were only shooting sort of in the one location, but it didn't look like it at all. So how difficult was that to sort of give depth and dimension in terms of making it seem like that?
It's a lot smaller than what it seems. The apartment is actually really tiny. And I think it was just all up to the cine guys and the lenses they used kind of, And
Job well done.
The apartment was actually one of Josh's friends that he knew that we rented out for those couple of days. So all the the pots and pans and everything set up, that was all there ready for us. So that was a lot of help. But I think navigating, having to like move the camera and our dolly tracks and stuff around was a bit of a mission, but everybody was like a really good sport and didn't mind us taking our time to get it just right to, you know, to shoot the scene.
What other difficulties did you guys have making this film?
I think definitely it would be time, because our college said you can only shoot this in 3 days.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely the most difficult thing to get done, especially because our film, I think it does have a lot of scenes and a lot of different scenes going on. So I think trying to get the right performance, setting up all the camera and lights and things like that, but also having room for the actors to improvise, because I'm a believer that, you know, you give them the direction, but I think if they understand where you're coming from, they can just go with it on their own. If they really know the character, they will be able to bring something up out of the character that maybe you didn't even see. So I also wanted time on set for them to just freestyle a couple of scenes. So fitting all that together in 3 days into like almost like 15-minute kind of a short film, I think was the challenge, the biggest challenge.
Yeah. And then moving forward with any other projects, are we going to see you as a director, editor, or how are we going to... Because I mean, you did really well. We could go with the director.
I'm not too sure. I think my first love has been editing. I think always will be editing.
Yeah.
But I'm currently working on another script at the moment. So I think I will direct that, but 100% with Josh's new scripts, he'll be directing. So it's kind of like the symbiosis thing that we
Really
pick and choose where. Because for our film, out of the 3 films from our year, I was the only director that didn't actually write the film. Josh wanted me to direct it because previously I directed a music video for Freshly Ground, and then he really liked that, and he thought he could bring more to the table as a producer.
Okay.
So that's actually kind of how I got this directing break, almost like as a fluke. But I think definitely you'll maybe here and there directing, but hopefully big on screen as an editor.
Yeah, and then how involved as a director or editor do you like to sort of get within sort of the storytelling? Or would it be writing, or would it be sort of setting up the scenes? How involved do you normally get, or do you just stick to your role?
Oh, like for directing? Like how involved would I get? Yeah. As soon as like Josh came with like the second draft, I was 100% there, like in the writing process, saying, okay, maybe let's change this line to this because I feel like Joanne should say this. But I think it's important as a director not to completely break the script, because you should trust your writer to know like how he wrote it, and you to bring out the essence that he was trying to. So I wouldn't like completely like scratch entire pages. I would rather just say, I think we should change this line because I feel like the character would say this more in this situation. And then for everything else, I did treatments for like wardrobe, hair and makeup, like everything had its own treatment, like lighting had its own treatment compared to like the cinematography picture had its own treatment. So I get super into it because I'm really into world building. So I 100% go all out, find like as much references as I can, because I want my team all to be on the same vision. Like even the cine, 100% obviously made him read through all my makeup notes, all my wardrobe notes, because he had to understand the lighting we needed to bring out the colors. And same like vice versa like that. So I made lots of treatments and sent the treatments to like every single person in the team, because I feel like we all have to have the same vision. So on set, we're not trying to fight for different ideas. So for me as a director, you have to get super involved in every single department, because you're the spearhead that needs to lead the team.
Yeah, and I know that you're going to make the United Africa very, very proud, and for the ladies, you know. Talking about future things, what more can we see coming from your side?
From my side, well, we do have another script. Hopefully, they'll be planning to shoot soon. We're just waiting on funding. It's a western.
Ooh,
yes,
that's
but not like hee-haw cowboy western, more like very dark betrayal. It's kind of like Reservoir Dogs, a heist film without the heist, like the aftermath of that. So we're in the process of getting the funding and sorting that out. So I think that's the next project you'll probably see me working on as a film. But I currently work at a place called Tin Toy Productions as an editor there. So now it's busy doing TVCs and some local stuff there that you'll maybe see my name on.
So you're busy.
Yes, yeah, always busy.
That's
my
good.
friend says it's good that I'm busy, or otherwise I would be psycho.
Oh, Joanne.
Yeah.
Okay, and if we want to stalk you to see sort of, you know, your path, where can we check you out?
You can check me out on Instagram, which is @JVTheWorld.
Is that it, at JV The World?
Yeah, I'm actually atrocious at social media. So
You're right.
if you just word of mouth, it would just come to me like
Yeah, but you know, you director types, you know.
Christopher Nolan doesn't even have a cell phone. So hopefully I'll get to like that level that, you know.
Any advice for anybody else who's thinking of getting into your career as an editor or even director?
I would say just find any set to be on. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, I don't want to do coffee runs, I don't want to roll cables. Yo, the amount of cables I've rolled. I don't want to roll cables, I don't want to do coffees or, you know, run around or pick people up from the airport because they think they're too above that.
Yeah.
Don't have that attitude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I started off like picking people up from airports, dropping them at their hotels and things like that, and that's how I got into Tintoy. So I feel like if you're willing to learn, just try be on any set as possible because that's where you're going to learn the most. Even though I was on set as a runner, I still learned so much about all the other departments and even like editing departments, and just like sitting back and watching people do their job and just being really observant helps a lot. And I find people in the film industry want our industry to grow, especially in South Africa. I think we have so much potential in South Africa and we are starting to show what we can do. So you'll find like, even some gaffers will be like sitting on set while they're busy telling people what to do, and they'll be saying like, this light does this and this light you know does this. So you'll find people in the industry want to help you. So don't be afraid to like be on set and ask questions because people are going to want to help you. And if you're passionate enough and just keep working, you will get like your break into a certain place because people in this industry reward hard workers and they want to work closely with their people because we want to work with people we can count on. So that would be my advice. Just get on as much sets as possible.
That's right, put in the time. Well, thank you very much for the interview, and I see a bright future ahead, definitely.
Thank
You always have the support of the South African Film Festival, and we'll be watching you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks.